Today I'm talking with Herb Gillen, the producer of the 2026 Columbus, Ohio Air Show on June 19th through 21st. This year, the show will feature an F-4D Phantom, the U.S. Army Golden Knights, and members of the Canadian Forces Snowbirds. Welcome to Craft, Herb Gillen.
Doug, great to be with you today.
So I mentioned a few participants at the beginning, but tell me about what attendees can expect to see at the Columbus Air Show.
Well, this is a very special year at the show, and of course, for America, it's America 250, and the Columbus Air Show, presented by Scott's Miracle-Gro, has really embraced that, and that's going to be the theme of our show. Along with that, we've made some changes. Typically, the show has been, gates open at 9, close at 5. Friday and Saturday, we're going to be doing a late afternoon and evening show where gates will open at 1 o'clock. Flying will begin about 3:30 or 4 and go until sunset. And then we're going to have some fireworks and pyro, a big America 250 finale to both of those days, which is a little different than what we've done in the past, and seems to be something that's pretty popular from our fans. We've got the United States Air Force Thunderbirds, which they fly their 6 red, white, and blue F-16 jets, which was obviously a really patriotic part of the show. We have a huge civilian lineup, the KC Formation flight team that will have up to 12 aircraft in the sky at the same time. You mentioned the Canadian Forces Snowbirds. This is the first time ever that the Snowbirds have flown in Columbus. So kind of a big deal. It's really a big deal to have 2 military jet demonstration teams at one show. It only happens maybe a couple of times a year across North America. So we're really lucky to have them both here.
Okay. How did the partnership with the Canadian Forces Snowbirds happen? You said it's the first year. What led to them coming to the U.S.?
It's kind of an interesting story. We did not have the Snowbirds or the Thunderbirds in our initial lineup. They were both scheduled to be at the Niagara Falls Air Reserve Base for an air show on the same weekend as us. Because of things happening in the world, real world situations, the folks at Niagara felt like they couldn't put their attention onto the air show, that they had people that were booked doing other things. So they had to unfortunately cancel their air show. But their bad fortune was Columbus's good fortune, and both the Thunderbirds and Snowbirds came to us almost immediately and said, "Would you take us?" And of course, we're happy to take them.
Okay. Now, I don't know a whole lot about aircraft, and airplane groups, but I'm curious if the Snowbirds is, obviously birds fly. Things like that, but and they're further north than the U.S. and many other countries. Are they adapted for special flight because of the being called Snowbirds, or is that just fun name not related to anything functional?
I think it's more just a fun name. Okay. Our Canadian neighbors often head south in the winter, and I think the fact that it's cold and snowy up in Canada. They're known as the Snowbirds, but they fly the CT-114 Tudor, which is a trainer aircraft. Doesn't go quite as fast as the Thunderbirds or Blue Angels aircraft, but they'll fly 9 of them as opposed to 6 that the American jet teams fly. So because they're a little bit slower, because there's more of them, they do a lot different things, and there's always something in front of you, it seems like, when the Snowbirds are flying. So I've worked with them at several shows around the country. They're really an exciting demonstration team.
Okay. What is the additional 3 airplanes because they're going slower and it's not as dangerous to have more airplanes flying? Is that why there are more than usual?
That's a great question, and I'm not sure the exact answer. They believe they've been that way since the team was formed in the early 70s. From a safety standpoint, I think both teams would be safe flying with more aircraft, but I think because they are slower you can have them on stage a lot longer.
Hmm.
When an F-16 is coming across, it's going 400, 500 miles an hour. It gets by you pretty quick
Right.
sometimes.
Yeah.
The trainers go a little bit slower, and they're just a little more majestic, I think.
Okay. So majestic snowbirds
Yes.
are what we can see. Okay. Cool. What's your favorite part of the show? You've been doing this for a couple of years. What do you look forward to the most besides, I'm going to guess, it being successfully completed?
Well, yeah, that's always a big take your breath at the end of the show, and hopefully the weather has cooperated and you've flown a safe show. But I think the biggest tick for me is actually the beginning, the opening when at our show, because we're on the airport with the Columbus Air National Guard unit there flying their KC-135 across as the national anthem's being sung. It's kind of stirring. And then the other part is seeing, I usually will just get out of my cart and walk around the grounds and take a look and see how people are doing, and to see all the kids that are getting inspired. We have a huge STEM and aviation area that's presented by NetJets, and it's a 40 by 40 tent that there's all this hands-on STEM stuff, and to see
Oh, cool.
kids, there's something going on there, and they're getting motivated, they're getting inspired to maybe have a career that is in the science technology field. That to me is really the big kick.
Okay. How did you get involved in promoting these? When I was looking at the background, you came from sort of advertising, and now you're into the producing of these air shows. What was obviously there was you were promoting air shows before this, but that's a kind of a big detour. It seems like.
Completely by accident. As you said, I worked in advertising marketing for small agencies here in Columbus for years, and I was working for an agency in 2005, and we ended up getting the Dayton Air Show as a client. I had never worked at an air show before, didn't really know much about them,
Hmm.
and that agency, we lost our two biggest clients like boom boom in about 5 weeks, and the owner of the company decided to shutter the agency. Well, I was out of a job. The Dayton Air Show needed somebody to market them, and I kept it quiet that I'd never been to an air show before. But we got through it. We had fun,
Yeah.
and after the show, they said, "Hey, you want to do it again next year?" So I did that. I picked up a few of my old clients and just kind of started my own marketing agency where we just did the marketing for the Dayton Air Show and a few other clients. Had a lot of success in Dayton, won a lot of industry awards. So other shows took note of it. We picked up shows over the years to where I don't know, about 15 years ago, we kind of became known as the top marketing agency in the country specializing in air shows.
Hmm.
About 6 years ago, 7 years ago, we decided, we had the experience in marketing. We knew who to bring onto the team, and we started our own production company to start putting air shows on, not just doing the marketing, but everything. And we've been doing that successfully now for about 6 years. And Columbus, this will be the fourth year we produce a show in Columbus.
Cool. What What's your final question? What is the biggest challenge when you put on an air show? What is the thing that is the most uh, difficult to go through? Whether it's contacting the clients, getting them to agree, finding the spaces. I'm just curious because it seems like a massive endeavor.
Well, it is. It's a risky business to be a producer. I mean, just in the 20 years I've been involved in air shows, we've seen government shutdowns. We've dealt with sequestration, and so there's always the chance that the military teams are what people want to see, and there's always a chance that can be taken away, or real world situations. There's a lot of military assets that aren't in the U.S. right now that are doing things elsewhere. So being able to just live with an environment is constantly changing, is probably the biggest factor.
Okay. Well, Herb Gillen, I want to thank you again for talking to me about the 2026 Columbus Air Show. It'll be happening June 19th through 21st. I'll have information about that on the website. Best of luck with the air show, and keep going, doing what you're doing.
Great. Thanks a lot, Doug. Appreciate it.